how would it be? How could an agent contextualize that for a vendor and a buyer?
Well, Louisa, tomorrow we've got, for me, one of the best at this that I've ever come across. A professor of psychology called Phil Hesketh, and he's actually working with our future leader group on his 10 killer questions for this marketplace. And one of the questions that Phil stands by, and I absolutely recommend agents use whatever the marketplace actually, is just asking people a very simple question, which is, what's the most important thing to you about this move? And and then let them talk and tell you what it is, because then you can adjust the profile. And Ian made the observation a second ago. He said that we both worked with the same individual whose mantra was every market makes a market. But to complete his phrase, he then said, and you need to know the market you're in, and you also need to know the direction of travel to the market that's to come. And I think that actually the media would have you believe that buyers think one thing and that sellers think another thing, or landlords think one thing and renters think another thing. I'm not so sure, actually. I think there's a lot more common sense out there than the media believes it to be. And of course, Ian's right. The best agents are absolutely going to seize the opportunity to educate, to properly inform, and to become what they are when they're at their best, which is a trusted advisor rather than a transactional agent. Yeah. And I think that's what we're moving into. It's not necessarily speedy, and some will have to really, press the sort of the work button, because it's not going to be just like shelling peas, loads of people coming in, stick it into a CRM and it spits out the answer. That's not going to happen. You've got to actually go out and do some proper work on this, as you've already highlighted, Lou, in terms of what's required. But my sense is that if you ask somebody, what is the most important thing to you about this move? Actually, for most people, it's not about necessarily the yield or the capital growth or even the cost of the mortgage. I mean, they're factors, of course. They want to buy because they want a bedroom for each of their children. They want a garden for the kids to play in. They want to reduce their commutes down. They want to improve the environment that they live in and all this good stuff. And that's where I think we've got to get back to is stop looking at this purely financially, but look at this from the perspective of what a home actually is. And it's a place where memories are made, and it's a place where actually your family grows up, where your life is the structure, it's the place of memories. And I just think the best agents are going to be able to have that conversation with people and say, sure, it's going to cost you 200 quid a month, 300 quid a month, whatever, more than you expected it to do at the moment. But, aren't your children worth that in terms of...
Okay. So, JT, thinking back to when you were an agent, if you were working in this market cycle now, how would you align expectations between buyers and sellers, and what are some of the lines that you might use in the current circumstances? How would you go about it?
I think more generally than that, it's about moving away from order taking and being a consultative person, being a real agent. Let's face it, in really good markets where there's very little stock, hundreds of buyers and tenants for each property, it is quite easy to take 10 leads, book 10 viewings, go and do them, and you'll probably get a couple of offers, then you might get it agreed. The reality with where we are now is that this is going to require old-fashioned agency, which is building of relationships, which is building trust and rapport and empathy. So my bit of advice, maybe not specific line, but my bit of advice is spend time, that extra cup of tea on evaluation, that extra 5 minutes on a call. If you've got an offer, and you can do so, by the way, which it depends on location, pop round and see your client. If you've got a down valuation, pop round and see your client. If it's not selling for whatever reason and you have to have a discussion about the price, first of all, pop round and see your client and sit on their sofa and tell them. Second of all, on that point, personally, there's nothing wrong with saying, well, I've tried the best of my ability, but something needs to change. Or I was wrong. I pitched at a certain price and I was wrong. That is very disarming, and it's very honest, and it's very open, and it's not what many vendors will expect an agent to say. So actually being honest and having the ability to just really engage them and build that rapport, and not be afraid to have that extra time with them, even on a face-to-face basis, would be my advice, because it's those relationships you build now and the relationships that you will build over the next 3 months for Q2's pipeline that will make the difference. And those agents who are willing to go that extra yard to make sure they're building that rapport and building that strong relationship as a trusted advisor, not just an appointment booker, in my opinion, will be the thing that makes the difference.